All right, let's go now to number 7, and this is Master Schedule Review. I'm going to be working in your day planners now with you. If you have not done Master Schedule Part 1, where you take all the information off the course outline and write it into your day planner, then you are just simply going to be working with me right now in your day planner. And you want maybe to have your course outline out sitting next to you. So that way you can look at your course outline and have some sense of what it is we're going through. All right? On the other hand, if you have already done Master Schedule Part 1, what I am about to do now is to amplify in some ways, okay, what you already have written down. Now, when I do Master Schedule Review, that is going to be the official word in regards to what is due. Sometimes it'll be on the course outline. I can adjust or amend it here. So in other words, it's hypercritical that you are getting this information here. I would also say that Room Captain will always take a photograph of the spread of the week in the day planner, so that way if there's any questions or whatever, or a student is absent, always can gain that information digitally as well. It's not a bad idea, okay? And I would say that probably the same is true, Room Captain, for all of our test sheets, right? So just take a photograph with your phone, you've got it, that way any of our absent students have the ability, right, to be able to get that intel, so they know how to fill it out or whatever, okay? All right, so here we go. I'm at number 7, and we're working Master Schedule Review as early as Monday the 21st. You ought to have your day planners open now. If you don't have a day planner in front of you right now, then I really do recommend you have a blank sheet of paper and just go through this and fill this out. And or just have Room Captain take a photograph of that day planner spread and then just send it to you, then you can fill it out on your own. First of all, go ahead and write this down. We will give plus points on the test sheet for the Master Schedule test for the Learn Strong lectures 1 through 4. So on Monday the 21st, if you arrive with notes already done for Learn Strong lectures 1 through 4, I'm going to give you points on Monday. Okay? So it's maybe, I'm rewarding some of you for doing some of that work. Some of you were saying, I got this done a week ago before school started. That's great. But I don't give you any additional points for that. I can't, because I have students that obviously drop into my class on the day 1 or whatever. It wouldn't be fair, all right? The annotations for Monday the 21st, and again, if you're watching this online and you're in another one of my classes, disregard this information, because this is not for you. This is for my first hour AP group. The annotations for Monday are Hamilton's Mythology, Parts 1 and 2. Now, please make sure you understand, we're talking parts 1 and 2, not chapters 1 and 2. There's a number of chapters in those different parts, okay? So make sure you're working parts 1 and 2. And also make sure that you include the introductory notes as well. All right, I'm going to ask you about Edith Hamilton's line, Greek miracle, and that information is in the intro, so you might jot that one down. Also, make sure you have the Learn Strong done over senior from the Senior A folder, Intro to Western Thought A and B. This is just an introductory lecture on Western thought that I want you to be familiar with. Tuesday the 22nd, Master Schedules Part 1 and 2 I will check for plus points. Now again, if you're listening to this lecture and you're in my Senior A or Senior B class, or you're in my Junior B class or my Honors Juniors class because you're absent, this is information that will still be germane to you as well. On Tuesday the 22nd, if you arrive with Master Schedule Part 1 and Part 2 done, I'm going to go through it in a little bit more review here in a second, but just write it down. If you show up with Master Schedule Part 1 and Part 2 completely done on Tuesday the 22nd, I'm going to give you some plus points on that test sheet for Master Schedule 303. The annotations for AP on the 22nd is Hamilton Part 4, and the Learn Strong is out of the AP folder, Troy Taylor. Also, make a note to yourself that I'll go ahead and hand out the AP topics list for the AP question 3, as well begin that project as well. I'll have a copy for you. I'll just give it to you, okay? Wednesday the 23rd, I'm going to give plus points for checking your student survey. So if you've got your student survey completely filled out by Wednesday the 23rd, it's not actually due until Friday the 25th. But if you've got it due on the 23rd, already done, I'll give you some plus points. I'll also give you plus points for your typed goals on that day if you show up with your typed goals done. Now again, some of you will say, I have my type goals done right now. You can leave those in the master schedule section of your notebook, or you can throw them in your Omega file, but you will not be showing them to me for plus points until the 23rd. Does that make sense? That's when I'll give them, okay? And again, I'll do it at the beginning of the hour normally. Sometimes I work through the gray bin. By the way, that little bin that sits on top of the Omega file, that's what we call the gray bin. And that's where you put your Omega file if you're turning anything into me, that you need scored or whatever. But sometimes we'll just do it up here for the front of the room. You might put a note too, we're still working on this, but we're going to try and join our Turnitin and revision assistant classes with password information and maybe even our AR password information on Wednesday of next week. It's my hope that we'll have all of that ready to give to you as well. Okay? I've not yet posted the first of the revision assistant assignments in a class yet. That's because I haven't actually created the class yet, and that's because we're still waiting on some information from our tech people. Wednesday the 23rd, the annotative work for AP. We're going to talk about translation issues as it relates to the Iliad. Your annotations are your notes over Iliad's books 1 through 10. And by Wednesday the 23rd, you want to have 30 multiple choice questions that you've created. You're going to create these in a Word document. And you are going to send these to Room Captain, and she will be creating then a master list so that we can begin to prepare for the examination by using this intel. Now, let's make sure we understand what this means. When you type up your 30 multiple choice questions, you're only deriving questions from Iliad books 1 through 10. That's it. You're going to give 3 questions for each book, 1 through 10, ergo 30 questions. So you're going to have 3 questions from book 1, 3 questions from Iliad 2, etc. Okay? And 1 question must be a quote question. In other words, it must come from a quote from the actual book. All right? Where you provide part of the quote and not the rest of the quote, and then you provide, obviously, 4 options. Now, let's make sure we understand formatting for the multiple choice questions. They all need to be the same. You want to make sure that you say Iliad 1. Then you have a number 1, 2, and 3. Then Iliad 2, numbers 4, 5, 6. Do you see what we're doing? So just number them that way. I think that's the easiest way for Room Captain to deal with it. All right. You're going to provide the question, stem, right? Then you're going to have 4 potential answers that you will label as A, B, C, and D, just like a multiple choice test. Okay? After the stem, in parentheses, in capital letter, you will put the correct answer. Do you hear what I just said? After the stem, in parentheses, you will put the correct answer, whether it be A, B, C, or D, right? Allowing then, once this document is loaded to LearnStrong from our Room Captain's work, you'll be able to use it as a study guide to prep for the exam, okay? The LearnStrong for Wednesday the 23rd is AP, from the AP folder, Iliad Part 1 and 2. Iliad Part 1 and 2. Thursday the 24th, more plus points. We're going to check your signed rule sheet. We're going to check your plagiarism sign sheet. If you've got it done on that day, then we'll give you those plus points. We're also going to check your 303 study guide. That's on LearnStrong at the very bottom of the homepage. If you go there, you'll see it. It's called the 303 study guide. All you have to do is print it and answer all the questions that are there. I promise you, if you can answer all the questions on the 303 study guide, you're going to do pretty well on the 303 exam the next day, because I made the exam and then I made the study guide. So if you know the study guide, you'll be ready for the exam. All right? The other thing I'll give you plus points for on Thursday the 24th is any kind of parent watching of the 303 lectures. If your parents watched and then signed your notes or signed a note or whatever that said they watched it, then we'll give you some plus points on Thursday the 24th. The annotations for Thursday the 24th are Iliad 11 through 15. And by that date, you'll have 15 multiple choice questions that are due to your Room Captain. 3 again from each book. 1 must be a quote, just like before. Okay? it's my assumption that you already read the Iliad during the summer, and so now you're going back and doing preparatory kinds of work. If you didn't read the Iliad during the summer, then obviously you have a bit of reading to be doing now in the next few days. Right. Friday the 25th, most importantly, of course, Friday the 25th, we will take the Master Schedule 303 exam. If you're absent on that day, obviously our makeup work protocol, just like you saw on our rule sheet, that contract sheet that you signed, is in play, and you'll obviously do it the following. It won't be Monday, I think, because we're on holiday, but it'll be the following Tuesday. Of course, you've got all that information right there on that Master Schedule checkoff sheet. All that stuff for the Master Schedule checkoff sheet, which is the thing that was stapled to your test sheet, all that's got to be checked off. So basically, you just want to make sure that you're kind of paying attention to what that sheet actually says. We'll go through it here in a moment in detail. The annotations for Friday the 25th are Iliad 16 through 24. We've got 27 multiple choice questions here, just like before, right? 3 from each book, 1 must be a quote. And we need the master posted, room captain, we need the master posted by 8 p.m. that day, all right? So what will happen is, room captain will let me know on Wednesday who has not already submitted to her Iliad 1 through 10 multiple choice questions. Okay, she'll have a grid with all your names on it, and the minute that yours arrives properly formatted, she'll check it off. So one of the things you want to do when you send this to her is to make sure that there's some kind of response or whatever. Okay, room captain, I know in the past other room captains have created just a Google Doc that can kind of be shared, and then people just go onto it and they just post it that way. If you elect to do that, then you just need to make sure that you have some way to identify where the questions came from, like questions created by for Iliad 1 or whatever. I don't know. I'll leave that one up to you. You let the class kind of know how you want to address that. Okay. All right, questions, comments about any of the master schedule work? All right, let's keep going now. In the final minutes remaining, what I want to do at number 8 here is I just want to go through some of the major deadline components of the August 25th master schedule deadline. I would be ready to just take a few notes. I would have out that master schedule checkoff sheet. That's not a bad plan, because I'm going to go through that information in a little bit of more detail. Okay? And again, because your test sheet remains in your Omega file, any notes that you take on your master schedule checkoff sheet, you can always just take a photograph of with your phone if you want, and that way you can have the information. I'm going to go quickly though, so let's pay attention. Conquer monkey mind now. First of all, to the supplies. The thing I want to point out is you want to make sure that you've got a notebook, 3-ring notebook. You want to make sure you've got dividers, and you want to make sure those dividers are in the sections that I've already outlined there on that master schedule checkoff for you. Okay? And you'll always probably need more paper, so it's an advantage. However, I do recommend a 2-notebook program where you have an active notebook that you bring to class, and then you have a secondary notebook at home where you keep all of your old stuff. Does that make sense? I mean, think about all the stuff you've received from me in just 2 days in terms of papers. So imagine how much garbage you're going to have by the 2nd week of October. And if you're carrying all those old papers in your notebook, that notebook's going to get really heavy, and that's kind of dumb. Do you got me? So I recommend a 2-notebook system. I always recommend this to my college students as well, a 2-notebook system. So an active notebook is the stuff we're working on right now. Another notebook back in your dorm room, or for you guys back in your bedroom, that just kind of holds all your old stuff. Important note though, never throw anything away. Never get rid of anything, all right? Always have records of everything. And, of course, hello, we're in an AP class where a lot of the stuff we're studying, you'll study in an honors program here in a year or 2 anyway, so it probably makes sense to kind of hold on to this stuff. At 8B, the Master Schedule Part 1, again, you're just taking the information out of the course outline and putting it in the day planner. At AC, this is the Master Schedule Part 2. This is work defined by headings. You've got the 3 headings that are right there on your Omega record sheet. Exams, read-write packets, all other scores. Just go through the course outline, and every time there's a score that looks like it's going to be a score for the Infinite Campus or the grade book, just write that down. Our primary goal here is so that you then have an idea of how many actual total scores there are, so you can do some statistical predictive, some predictive statistics, okay? So in other words, you can know, I need to kind of have an idea how many scores total, so I can know how many scores I can, you know, get 60s on and still get the grade that I want. You can do that kind of predictive statistics if you know. The typed goals are in the 3 areas. Write it down if you don't see it. Of reading, writing, and organization. All I need here is 3 headings. Underneath the 3 headings, I only need 3 simple bullet-pointed goals or objectives. How do you want to improve in reading? Maybe it will be in speed, maybe it will be in comprehension, maybe it will be in taking of annotative work. How do you want to improve in writing? Maybe for some of you this will be improving vocabulary, it will be improving grammatical revision and the like. For some of you it will maybe improve getting beyond writer's block, using some of the jam writing ideas that we present in that lecture on writing in the introductory lectures of 303. And then finally, organization. 3 things you want to improve on in organization. Of course, we have to learn to overcome the P word, right? I was going to stop procrastinating, but I kept putting it off. Claudius will say in Hamlet that we would do, we should do when we would, for that would hath abatements and delays, right? So, I mean, the reality for us is we got to overcome that. For some of us, it's something as important as using the notebook, the day planner. For some of us, it's having a more scripted study time. For some of us, it's learning to use our idle, empty time, right? So, for example, maybe during lunch, we can find a kind of quiet hideaway and get some work done, as opposed to just sitting and wasting our time. You're going to be very, very busy people. And so it makes sense for you to make sure that you have some sense of how you're structuring the rhythms of your day. Some of you will maybe have to rise a little bit earlier in the morning to get some work done. Yes? So, I mean, that's part of this goal stuff. At 8E, the 4 Learn Strong lectures, all I need you to do is just watch them and take notes over them, okay? That's what we call flowing the lectures, all right? And of course, if you're having that done with any kind of parent or whatever, getting it signed is not a bad idea because you can pick up some plus points. Finally, the 303 exam study guide, that is right there on the Learn Strong homepage. Again, learnstrong.net. Right on the homepage. All you got to do is go down to the bottom and find where it says study guide. You print it. You answer all those questions, you bring it to class, you show it to me. Again, I'll give you plus points on that on Thursday of next week, the 24th, and then you'll take the test on the following day, the 25th. All right, we covered a lot of intel in that hour, and I appreciate your assiduity and your attempts to try to conquer monkey mind. Thank you.